Hello, everyone. Let's do this really quickly. Hello, how are you all doing? And welcome. It is 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and so it's time for us to have our 11 a.m. talk with Angel Charmaine. So come on into the room. Y'all already know what to do. We're not gonna be here all day, so you need to get here on time so you can get what it is that you're supposed to get in this space. So, welcome, welcome, welcome into the space. You know, I'm going to give you all just a little bit of time to know that I'm here, to see that I'm here. So, good morning, good people. Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome, welcome, welcome once again to another 11 a.m. talk with Angel Charmaine. And today we're going to be kicking off a new conversation. Last week we were talking about authenticity and leadership. And so I hope those of you who are leaders got something really good and something really hearty that you're able to use in your own spaces from last week's conversation. And this conversation, this is going to be a good one. So you're going to want to be here all week long for this at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come on into the room, bring your friends into the room, tag your people into the room because we're going to be talking about showing up without selling out. Ooh, that part. Showing up without selling out. Come on into the room because you already know it's going to be good. Okay? It is going to be good. Before we get started, though, let me go ahead and let those of you who may be new into the space know what it is that we do. First, if you are brand spanking new to this space, hey, how you doing? My name is Angel Charmaine. I am the owner of Speak Up Sis LLC, and we have an amazing platform that is based on empowerment, the empowerment of everyday people who are doing extraordinary things in this world. We own Speak Up Sis magazine, which provides space and opportunity for everyday extraordinary people to share their personal and or professional brand stories to not just reach the people they know, but to impact the world. So I welcome you into this space. I come here at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, to encourage you, to edify you, to uplift you, to sometimes correct, but all the time to be a blessing to you. So come on in the room. Today, we're going to start, like I said, this new conversation about showing up versus selling out. I'm just saying, you can totally show up authentically, fully as yourself without um, selling your soul, okay? Without becoming what other people want you to be, okay? So we're getting ready to have a really, really good, robust. It's one of my favorite words. You will probably hear me say robust a lot because I like that word. But we are going to have a robust conversation about showing up and showing up as your authentic self. And we're going to talk about performance as a trap because it is there is a trap called performance, and we're going to talk about why we feel the need to shape shift and morph and change and turn into other things and to conform to things that are not us, right? And not who God has called us to be, not what God has called us to be. So come on into the space. Let's go ahead and get started. A little bit of housekeeping. If you're gonna be here, then we need you to say something. I'm a country girl. I'm a Georgia Lina girl, a Georgia Lina girl. My mama people from Georgia, my daddy people from Carolina, so I'm kind of Georgia Lina. My paternal grandmother used to say, I ain't sleep with you last night. When you come into this room, little girl, you say good morning. I ain't sleep with none of y'all last night. So I'm expecting a good, hearty good morning from you. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever your greeting of choice is, at whatever time you choose to watch this live. Hello, Belinda Denise. Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for speaking. I appreciate you because some of y'all weren't raised right. I can tell. Some of y'all just wasn't raised right. Your mamas and your daddies and your aunties and your grandmamas didn't teach you how to speak to folks. So listen, I'm gonna teach you. when you come into this space, if you're going to watch, don't lurk. Leaders don't lurk. Leaders don't lurk. If you're going to be here, say something. Okay. So that's what's up. Let's go ahead and get into what we're going to talk about this week. Again, sis, don't laugh at me. Don't laugh. Don't laugh because you know I'm real serious. I'm real serious. How you doing, Jessica? How you doing, Jay Bella? How you doing, beautiful? I love the name Bella. I absolutely do. Thank you so much for speaking. Thank you for coming into the room. Again, this week we're going to be talking about what it really means to show up for yourself without feeling like you have to turn into somebody else. Have you all ever felt like the real you just wouldn't be enough in a space? Like the real you just wouldn't be enough for the room that you walked into? Have y'all ever felt like that? Like, ugh, I want to go in here. I know I'm supposed to be here. I know the Lord is leading me here, but I'm not sure that I fit here. I'm not sure that I'll be welcome here, right? I'm not sure that what I bring to the room is going to be enough here in this space. So guess what? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to dismiss some things, okay? We're going to move away from some things today. So I need you to talk to me in the chat. The housekeeping, if you're going to be here, I need you to talk to me in the chat. You can ask questions. You can talk to other people. You can just say, yeah, girl. Hey, girl. That's right, girl. Preach. Whatever you want to do. But I need you to talk to me in the chat because I don't like to talk to myself. I don't need to talk to myself. I'm here to talk to you. So please talk back to me. Okay. I like that Jessica says, I'm a Alabama, Georgia, sippy girl. I'm gonna take that as Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi. Okay, that's the Alabama, Georgia, sippy girl. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Good and country. Okay, so Jessica says I deal with that a lot. So we're gonna deal with that today. Says we're gonna deal with that. Alla Georgia Sippy. Yes. Yes, Georgia Lina here, Alla Georgia Sippy. That's what I'm talking about. That girl is from the sip. You better do it. You better tell it. Welcome into the space. I welcome you to 11 a.m. Talk with Angel. So I'm going to go ahead. Let me pull up my notes. One thing y'all are going to learn about me, I'm an educator. I have been an educator for over 20 years. I taught high school, I taught middle school, I trained teachers overseas, I taught at the collegiate level. I've taught, I've trained, I've been an advocate, all the things. And so I always come prepared because that's just how I move. So I actually do prepare for you all. I'm like, what is that little thing? That's one of my locks hanging out from the side. Mm-mm-mm. So I do sit down. I think about these things. I think about what it is that the Lord wants me to share with you all. I take notes. And so pulling up my notes so we can get to it. All right. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and jump into this. I want us to be honest today. Okay, let's be honest. Sometimes we walk into a room and we instantly wonder, do I belong here? I don't know about y'all, but I've been there. Jessica says she's dealt with this as well. I have walked into rooms and when I look around, I'm like, ooh, did they mean to invite me? Did the person who invited me? Did they mean to invite me here? You know what I'm saying? And instead of standing strong in who we are, we kind of morph, we change, we shift, right? So you may raise your voice louder than you typically speak, or you may tone down your voice because maybe it feels a bit too big and boisterous in a place, right? Sometimes we dress down. It's like, ooh, maybe I'm not going to wear all these colors in here. Maybe I'll put on something black or navy blue, right? Because I've learned that that's calming, and maybe my colors are too much, right? Or maybe we dress up more flamboyantly than we typically like, or maybe you're wearing these dresses when you really would have liked some wide leg pants or something, right? We try to match the room. And while trying to match the room, oftentimes we lose ourselves. right? We lose ourselves in the process of trying to be matchy matchy with the room and the people in the room and the energy in the room. One thing that I just absolutely cannot stand that people are saying constantly these days is I'm matching energy. Whatever you bring in, I'm matching energy. If you, I'm matching it. I'm matching it. If you, I'm not matching nobody's energy. We've not been called to match energy. We've not been called to conform to the ways of the world. We've been called to be peculiar. No, we were created to be peculiar people. We were created to stand out. We were created to move differently. So, no, 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 no. We don't go into the room to match the room. We go into the room to light up that room. Do you understand what I'm saying? And oftentimes, in order to be able to shine in the way that you've been created to shine, you've got to be okay with walking into a room and just being who you were created to be. That's what we're going to talk about today. That's what we're going to talk about today. So, the first thing that I want to say, the first thing I want to share with you all today, the first point that I want to make, I'm going to put it up on the screen. The pressure to perform is not always loud. The pressure to perform is not always loud. Sometimes the pressure to perform is silent. Nobody is saying that you have to do anything. Nobody is like verbalizing that thing to you. Sometimes the performance is very, very subtle. Sometimes it's just the toning down of your voice a little bit, right? Sometimes it's just you kind of overdressing to make yourself look worthy of being there, right? Because all the first ladies have on the big hats. And all the first ladies shop at the place where they get all them stiff looking suits, right? All the first ladies got them pump kitten heels, shiny things on. Nowadays, they all got on a bodycon suit. You understand what I'm saying? They all got on a 4-inch heel. They all got faces beat to the gods. And they all got on a lace front, right? I'm just saying, that's what it looked like to me. And so now when you walk into the room, you don't look like you fit. You don't feel like you fit. There's like this silent pressure for you to mimic the patterns of the people in the room or the behaviors in the room, right? And oftentimes it doesn't feel natural, but there's this silent pressure to be like what you see. If Lord, I done married this pastor. Now I got to be the first ladybug in here. I don't even want to be I don't even believe in no first ladybugs, but that's what I got to be. So now I walk into this room and there's a pressure to perform. Nobody says anything. Nobody said you had to. It's a silent pressure. Listen, can y'all drop a 1 in the chat if y'all feeling me? Am I by myself here? Am I by myself here? Is anybody with me here? Okay, Jessica says yes. Okay. All right. I'm glad I'm not here by myself today. Because sometimes y'all like to leave me out here by myself. Like I'm talking to myself and y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Right? We do this because we've been taught that our real selves aren't safe. Our real selves aren't safe. Our real selves aren't valued or valuable. Our real selves aren't polished enough to be taken seriously. How do I know this? This is something that I think, this is something that I work through. This is something that I know to be true. I know it to be true even for myself. I had to work through those feelings of, do I fit? I don't feel like I fit. I don't look like, and I don't look, I'm a visionary leader too, but I don't look like the leaders around me. I'm just as competent and bright and smart as everybody else, but I don't look like anybody in the room that I've been invited to. I know what it's like to walk into a space and just look totally different from everybody else. And there's this silent pressure to just change a little bit. Okay, Angel, I know you don't wear makeup, but everybody else does. So maybe you should put a little bit of foundation on, maybe, put a little lippy on or something. You ain't got to do too much, but do something. I know, Angel. I know. You semi freeform. You don't really do the hair thing, but you're going into this room, and you don't want to make people feel real uncomfortable with your hair looking all wild and unkempt. Nobody says you have to do it. Nobody forced you to do that. But there is a little bit of a silent pressure, right? That makes you feel like you need to code switch. We start to overcompensate, right? And what happens is you become what you think they need you to be instead of who you are. It's not loud, but it is silent and it is forceful. And I want to say today, you don't have to be peer pressured by the room. You do not have to give in to the silent peer pressure of the rooms that the Lord allows you to walk in. If He allows you to walk in the room as you, then guess what? There's a space for you in that room. He will keep you and sustain you. He will anchor you and fortify you in that room as you without you having to conform to the room. Okay, am I talking to myself today? Okay. Am I by myself today? What we doing? Jessica. Jessica says, what happens when you light up the room and one, they don't want the room light because they like it dark? Oh, Jessica, you talking my language because scripture tells us that they love the darkness that they in and they reject the light, right? So we must understand that sometimes we will walk into rooms where they prefer it to be dark. However, if you are being led by the Lord to go into a room, then you are being led to take the light into a room that is dark, whether they like it or not. Guess what? You are being sent there for a reason. So you shine, even if they don't want it. And you go where you are led to go and you remain for the time that you are led to remain. And when it is time for you to go, then you exit. But whether people want the light or not is not our business. Our business is to go where we've been told to go. Our business is to be obedient. Our business is to be a light in a very dark world. So the world doesn't want the light. The world doesn't want who we are. Yet we are in the world and we must still shine in a world that rejects us. So what happens when the room doesn't want the light? You go anyway. You go anyway. Because in that room, there's probably one person who needs the light. If you're being sent into the light, if you're being sent into the darkness as the light, there's a reason for that. Somebody is looking for a way out. Somebody is looking for the way. So if you're led as the light to go into a room filled with darkness where they don't want you, go anyway. That's question number one. Number two, others treat you different because they are intimidated by your light. I find myself reading the room because I don't like being treated differently by others, even when I haven't done anything. Ooh, 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 ooh. Jessica, you are all up. Listen, I think we've had some very similar experiences. I'm going to say again, scripture says they will hate you for my name's sake. When you go into a place as a disciple of the way, the truth, and the life, when you go into places as a peculiar person, when you walk into a space different because he told you you're supposed to be different, you must understand that you're just not going to be liked, and that's okay. You're going to be treated differently, and that's okay. Dare I say, oftentimes we are more intimidated by them than they are of us. We say, oh, they're intimidated by me. Oftentimes we walk into the room already feeling some kind of way. We already feel like, I know I'm going to be I know I'm going to change the environment in the room. I know that I'm going to be big in this room. I know that my presence is big in this room, and I really don't want the issues. I really don't want anybody messing with me. I really don't want anybody saying anything to me. I really don't want the smoke today. I'm not. And so we go into a room and we allow darkness to intimidate the light. Listen, shift the way you think about it. They're not intimidated by you. Oftentimes, we're afraid of the unknown. What I have learned is that a lot of people, because they don't know me, because they don't know why I'm there, because they've never seen what they see when I walk into a room, they're a little standoffish. It's simply because they don't know. Fear oftentimes, people are oftentimes fearful because of the unknown. So the way I choose to look at it now is not that they're intimidated by me. It's just that they don't know me. They don't know me. And because they don't know me, that makes them a little, fearful. It makes them a little apprehensive. It makes them a little guarded. It makes them a little cautious. And that's okay. But I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to show up as me. I'm still going to do all of the things. And I'm going to stay as long as the Lord tells me to stay. And I'm going to say exactly what he tells me to say. And when it's time for me to leave, then I will leave. So show up anyway, is what I'm saying to you. Show up anyway. Absolutely, you're going to be attacked. Absolutely. The last part that you all can't see, it says being a strong woman brings unwarranted attacks. Absolutely. Absolutely. Scripture tells us that the weapons will form, but they won't prosper. They're going to form. You can't get around that. You just can't. They're going to form. You might even catch a stray every now and then. But as long as you are anchored and covered in the blood of the Lamb, guess what? They won't prosper. They won't destroy you. So keep showing up, sis. Keep showing up. Some people be up on competition with you, and you want everyone to win in their life. Absolutely. 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 Here's the thing. I say it often. I'll say it again in this space. You are responsible for your presentation, not other people's perception. You're responsible for how you show up in a place. You're responsible for how you present in a place. That's your responsibility. Are you showing up in the way that God has called you to show up? Are you showing up authentically as yourself? Are you showing up saying what he says or what you want to say or what they think they want to hear you say? Are you showing up fully as who you were created to be before you were even formed in your mother's womb? Are you showing up and presenting that to the world? Now, how the world perceives that, what they think about that, how they choose to handle that, that's not your business. So if they want to compete, that's not your business. As long as you're not showing up as competition, if you're showing up as collaboration, right? If you're showing up in a positive light, that's your responsibility. How they perceive that it ain't got nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do with you. Good morning, Cherise. How you doing? Thank you for popping in this morning. I appreciate you. Got it? So the first point that I want to make with you all today is that you need to understand that sometimes we shift, we shape shift, we perform, we do all these things from a silent pressure. It's not always about someone trying to tell you what you need to do or someone saying, oh, you should change this, you should move this. Oftentimes, that's not what's happening. It is very silent. It's not all the time loud, but that pressure is there. And the first thing that we need to do in order to not shape shift, to not transform, to not jump into this performance mode is to acknowledge and to realize and acknowledge that there is a pressure there. And it's normal. Anytime you're going into spaces with new people, especially when you're going into spaces with powerful people, You just have to know that there's gonna be a temptation, right? This silent thing that tells you, "Ugh, I need to step it up, or I need to tone it down, or I need to fit in." And I want you to remember that no, you don't have to. You don't have to. You do not have to. You need to understand that what you have been taught to feel like you're not enough, right? That what you have to say isn't that valuable. There are some people who will try to tell you because you don't have this degree or that degree, and you didn't go to this school and you didn't go to that school, and because you don't, you didn't grow up in this place or whatever, people will try to convince you that your testimony isn't as strong as someone else's. They will try to tell you that your story isn't as impactful as others. They will try to tell you that what you have to say isn't as valuable as someone else because they've done all these things and they've got all. And let me tell you something, it's a lie straight from the pits of hell. Don't believe it. People will tell you you got to shine yourself up. You got to polish yourself up. No, you get to show up exactly the way the Lord wants you to show up because there's a reason for that. John the Baptist was the forerunner to the Messiah, and he lived in the wilderness wrapped up in some very uncomfortable clothes, looking like a hermit. That's what he looked like. And he was the forerunner to the Messiah. Don't let anybody tell you that you got to turn into somebody else. You don't. The truth is that the moment you start performing for the room, you begin to abandon your authenticity to applause. The moment you walk into the room and start tap dancing, you then begin to abandon your own true self, your own authenticity, for people to clap for you. We often say we won't sell our souls, but we do all the time. We do all the time. Every time you choose to show up as somebody other than yourself, you have just given away just a little bit more of yourself. Just a little bit more of yourself. Absolutely. He was old at eating wild locusts and honey. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm telling you, you do not have to be what these people say you need to be. You don't. When you choose to walk into spaces as something or someone other than who God has created you to be, just know you're going to be making connections with people who are not aligned. You're going to be building platforms and brands. You're going to establish a reputation that doesn't actually reflect who you are. You can actually build a big successful business. You can amass a strong following that does not even remotely line up with who you authentically are. And the issue with that is that at some point, it's going to all come crashing down. Because at some point, you're going to long to show up as yourself. And all those people that you connected to, and all those businesses that you built, and all the stuff that you created as this person who was doing the dog and pony show, it's all going to come to naught. Why? Because at some point, you're going to crash and burn. The true you is always going to come to the front. So why not just start there and remain there? All right. So let's go on to the second point that I want to make today. The second point that I want to make today is that there is a danger in and trying to change too much. There's one thing when you say, okay, I've been living a certain kind of way, and the way I've been living is, I don't want to look like that anymore. I don't want to be like that anymore. And I want to, I want to expand. I want to grow. I'm not saying that you shouldn't grow. I'm not saying that, perfecting some places in your life. I'm not saying that those things are bad. But what I am saying that you can definitely morph and shift far too much into something that you don't even recognize. And you want to make sure that you sit with yourself and ask, where did it start? Like where did the shape shifting begin? When did this thing start? So that you can nip it in the bud. Where did it begin? Most of us can trace this changing of ourselves back to some moments where we really felt criticized, mocked, and rejected. Most of us, I will say that most of us can think back to some times when maybe you showed up fully as yourself and you were bullied. Maybe you showed up fully as yourself and and you got some constructive criticism that wasn't really constructive, right? Maybe you showed up fully as yourself and you were ostracized. Maybe you showed up fully as yourself and you weren't picked for the team. Most of us can sort of trace back and pinpoint that time where we felt like we were not allowed into a space because we showed up as ourselves. Or maybe you're the person that someone said you're just doing too much. You too much. I have been that person. I have had people that I love, people who are close to me, to say you too much. I don't want to be in this space with you anymore because you just too much. Or maybe you've heard you're not enough. You're not enough. Like I like that right there, but not for this space. Here, like this is what we do, this is what we want, and you really don't, right? You don't have enough money. You don't have enough status. You ain't got enough followers. You ain't got enough. You're not enough. Or maybe you heard that you're not professional. We would love to have you in this space, but this is a space for professionals. What's your degree? Where'd you go to school? What kind of business do you have? We can all trace back that feeling of feeling like we need to change or be something else. What you looking for, son? Okay. Maybe they told you was too country. You was too country. You need to change the way you talk. Maybe you too ghetto for this space. Am I the only one who's heard any of these things? Jessica says, me. You heard some of these things, right? Yeah, shape shifting is a real thing. It is a real thing. And in our community, right? And the melanated people's community, we laugh about having to code switch. But we don't just code switch because of race. We don't just code switch because of us economic status. We code switch even within our own community. We code switch all the time. We learn that who we are is just not good enough for all the spaces. So when you go into spaces with non-melanated people, you got to change the way you talk. You got to start doing this. You got to start talking about where your kids went to school. And my son goes to this school, and my daughter does this, and oh my gosh, my child has this, and ooh, 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 and she lives in this place, and as soon as you walk away, honey, your face just changes, and now you got a headache because I call it being on, being on, turning on. I tell people all the time, I cannot stand feeling like I have to be on because it's exhausting. I just want to be Angel every day. I don't want to have to turn on a new person for this environment and turn on a new person for that environment and be this person over here. And we've been taught that it's just appropriate, right? It's just appropriate. There are just places that you must be like this, and places that you got to talk like this. And listen, it has trained us to be transformers and shapeshifters and chameleons. So much so that we don't even know who we are from day to day. If someone asks you what you like, it's kind of like remember the movie Coming to America, where the girl was he was about to get married. And he was like, "What do you like?" And she was like, "Whatever you like." What do you like doing? Whatever you like doing. Bark like a dog, right? That's what we end up doing. That's what we end up doing. That's what we end up being. And I want to say to you that that's not God's best for you. That's not God's best for me. That's not what He put us on this earth to do. He put us in this earth to be the salt of this earth. Listen, we are here to shake things up. We are here to help direct people to the light. We are here to help draw people to Him. We are here to not conform to the world, to be peculiar people. We are not here to transform into what the world tells us we're supposed to be. That is absolutely not what we are placed here to do. But because we've heard all of these things, that you too much, you not enough, you too this, you too plain, you too regular, you too boring, you too whatever, that we build this version of ourselves that people will accept. Why? Because we all want to belong. We all want to be accepted. It's important for you to sit down with yourself and really think about what started this feeling of I gotta be somebody else other than myself. Because if you sit with it long enough, you'll realize that it's not the truth. Where did the shape shifting begin for you? For some of us, it started really, really early, right? For some of us, it started when we were 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. For some of us, it didn't happen until we got to middle school and we just didn't fit. Some of us, it took all the way to get to college, and you really wanted to be a part of this particular organization or this space, and you did, and so you just started being all kind of other things other than who you are, so that you could just fit, so that they would just like you. Some of us, it took wait until you got to be a professional as an adult, and you walked into your very first job and you realize like you don't look like these people, you don't talk like these people, you don't eat none of the stuff they eat, you don't want to go none of the places, and you realize in order to have a peaceful existence, so you think, in order to have a peaceful existence in this place, you got to be somebody else. So it happens to all of us differently in different spaces at different ages, different times, but it happens. And what I'm here to do is shake you out of it, to say that's not you. And you're never going to live freely in the Lord and who He's called you to be until you acknowledge that you be shapeshifting. You be shapeshifting and transforming and code switching, and it is not going to get you where you want to be and be sustainable. That's the key. You may get where you're going, but will you be able to sustain that in a place where you can maintain your joy and your peace? 9 out of 10 times, you won't. 9 out of 10 times, you won't. We often look at it as coexist. Ooh, girl, you made me just slide down in my chair. Coexisting. Do not get me talking about coexisting. I don't even want. That's a whole other lie that people are not ready for it. I'm gonna drink some water on that one. Most people don't want to hear what I got to say about coexisting, but I'm gonna keep moving. We often look at it as coexisting to survive, but I definitely see the danger in this. It is very exhausting. Absolutely. Our society tells us that we can't be certain ways in certain spaces. I deal with this a lot. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to say this. For me, the only thing that matters for me as to how I'm going to show up is what the Lord has to say about it. I don't know about anybody else. I don't know what y'all believe or whatever. I am someone who believes in the God of heaven. the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's who I believe in. I believe in the God who calls himself Yah, Yahuwah, Yahweh. That's who I believe in. And so for me, what he says about me is what matters. Where he says I should go is what matters. Is where I'm going. If he says don't do that, then I'm not going to do it. If he says don't put that on, I'm not going to put that on. And sometimes I put that on and then I have to repent. Can I just that's what matters to me. But I'm going to say it hasn't always been that way. It hasn't always been that way. I've not always been that way. What other people thought, what other people said, just trying to fit in, just trying to, like, I just want a little peace of mind today. So yeah, there I remember wanting to just fit. I remember being in a space of not wanting to be cut off because we just cut it now. Cut it, cut it, cut it, right? If I don't agree with it, cut it. Cancel it. Who wants to be canceled? Who wants to be cut off? Who wants to be ostracized? Who wants to be blackballed? Nobody. Nobody. So then what do? We just say, okay, I'm just gonna go along with the get along, honey. We join the get along gang, and then we just like, whoo. But at the end of the day, there's no way that you can fully exist as who God created you to be and conform to be what somebody else wants you to be too. Like there's gonna be a war with the two, and you will not be able to be at peace. It may stop the battle right then, but baby, it ain't gonna do nothing for the war that's gonna be raging on the inside of you. I had to fight to be myself because I got tired of shifting to appease people. But now people get mad because they put the silent pressure on you to be a certain way. Even in the church, you have to sing a certain way or preach a certain way. Let me tell you, Jessica, you don't get me in trouble on this live. This may be your first time showing up in this space, and I appreciate you for coming in and talking to me because I love having good, solid conversations. But sis, honey, deep is where we go. We go into the deep. The deep is where the living is. The deep is where the truth is. And that's where we go. Most people don't want it and can't handle it. I'm telling you. Exactly. Who wants to be blackballed? Nobody does. Nobody wants to be ostracized. But I promise you this. If you are talking the truth, because I don't believe in my truth. I don't believe in girl tell your truth and speak your truth. I don't believe in that. I believe that there is but one truth. See, you finna get me in trouble, Jessica. Because Yahshua HaMashiach is the way, the truth, and the light. There's but one truth. There are many realities. There are many perceptions of the truth. But there is but one truth. I know, y'all. See, Jessica, let me move on because you're going to get me in trouble. I'm just messing with you, sis. I'm just messing with you. Listen, I've been getting in good trouble a long time. I've been getting in good trouble a long time. So I'm good with it. I appreciate you for coming in and actually having some real bona fide conversations with me. I appreciate you. I really do. I really do. Understand this. The acceptable version, and I do mean when I say acceptable, is not the authentic version of you, but the acceptable version of you. It is not more powerful. It's not more powerful. Do you hear me? You think that when you change and when you become who these people want you to become, and it seems like you're moving up the ladder and it seems like you're being accepted, and you're like, oh, this is working, so I'm gonna just stay here. I know I don't really like it, but it just seems to be working. Understand, the acceptable version of you, not the authentic version, but the acceptable version of you is not more powerful. It's simply more palatable. That's all. That's all. You just watered yourself down a bit. I don't know if any of y'all have ever been drinkers. I don't know if any of you have ever had a bit of spirits in your life, but if you've ever had a strong drink, oftentimes they'll chase it with something. They might chase it with some water. They might chase it with some Sprite. They might chase it with some juice. They might chase it with some ginger ale or something. They might chase it. They gonna chase it. And what it does, it makes it more palatable. It makes it easier for you to drink. Chasing the poison just makes it easier for you to swallow the poison. But baby, it's still poison. It's still listen. It's still, I don't care whether you drink the liquor straight out the bottle or whether you get a mixed drink. You still ingesting poison, and you still it's still gonna do what it's gonna do. And some of them chasers speed the process up faster. That sugar just speeds it up faster for you. So what I'm saying to you is that when you start chasing it, instead of just showing up straight no chaser, instead of just showing up fully and authentically, you're simply it's not that it's making you more powerful, more strong. They like you now, they accept you. No, it's just making you more palatable for a room filled with people who don't even matter. You're watering yourself down for a bunch of people you weren't even called to impact. There are people who were just sent to detract and distract, but listen, but you weren't even called there to impact the people that you are changing yourself for. They just obstacles. We around here changing for people who are just distractions. When we realize that, maybe we'll stop doing that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Let me move on. Let me move on to my last point because I'm only supposed to be here for 30 minutes. I done been here for 47. Let me get to getting. The last thing I want to say to you all today is that you don't have to become them to be great. You do not have to become them to be great. Understand, God didn't make you a carbon copy of anybody. I don't know if y'all remember, maybe I'm dating myself. Back in the day, the teachers, if they wanted to make a copy of something, they had carbon, like the carbon paper. And so you would put it on the thing and press it or whatever, and then you would get a copy of it. That's how they use that's anyway, that's where when we talk about carbon copies, yeah, some of y'all ain't even old enough to remember carbon copy paper. But God didn't make you a carbon copy of anybody or anything. You were made in the likeness and the image of him. He didn't even carbon copy himself to create you. No, you were created in his likeness and his image, but every single one of us are uniquely created. There's no two of us. You may even, if you're a twin, you may look like you're a twin, but there is still something that differentiates even twins. Your prints are different. You are uniquely different, even if you resemble some other people. Because, yes, we're supposed to resemble the Father. And yes, as the brethren, we resemble each other. But you are not a carbon copy of anybody. You are uniquely and divinely a masterpiece, like all by yourself. He did not create you to be a carbon copy. The way you speak, the way you dress, the way you look, your tone, your flow, your fashion, all of that. It's all a divine design to create something very unique and authentic. And when you are gone, like that design is gone. There's no recreating that design. Even though we say things like, oh, girls, your child copied your face. Nah, she got her own face. We look alike, we resemble, we may even sound alike, but baby, we are very different. You are not a carbon copy, and you don't have to become a carbon copy to be great. You are great. You are great in who you are and who you've been created to be and who you've been called to be and what you've been called to do. We think we got to copy folks, mimic people. I wish we would understand and learn how to be inspired by people versus having to imitate people. Oftentimes we look at folks and we're like, oh gosh, they're so great. If I could just be, no, you don't want to just be like, when people tell me things like, or you're going to be the next Oprah, or you the next this, or you the next that, I'm just like, I'm not the next, none of that. I'm the only Angel Charmaine Wright. That's it. I'm the only Angel Charmaine Wright. That's it. I don't want to be the next nobody. I want to be the only Angel Charmaine Wright. That's it. And I don't need to be like anybody else. And I don't need to become anybody else in order to stand in the fullness of who God has called me to be and who He's created me to be. The world don't need another O. The world don't need another nobody. The world need Angel Charmaine Wright. And the entire world don't even need Angel Charmaine Wright. But the people that God has divinely and strategically called to be a part of my life and for me to be a part of their lives, that's who needs me. They don't need me to be nobody else. The people who have been called to be connected to me, they need this face. They don't need a contoured nose. They don't need a shaped face. They don't need a slimmer jawline. They don't need manicured hair. They don't need me to have no fingernails. They need exactly what y'all see. They don't need me to speak quietly and be very cutesy and no, they need me to stand up and talk boldly and strongly, just like I'm talking. If this is too strong for some people, that means that my voice is not connected to you and your voice ain't connected to mine. And maybe we're not supposed to impact each other. And that's okay. We got to learn to be okay with being who we are so that we can stop trying to become other people so we can be great. You are great exactly how you were created. Maybe you need to go sit with your definition of greatness. Maybe you need to sit with what you consider success. Maybe you need to sit with what you deem as valuable. Maybe you need to sit with that for a little while. Because maybe you are showing up as other people because you have a warped and twisted way of thinking about value. Maybe what you deem as success, it's just a little disjointed. I don't know, maybe. Maybe you're trying to attain somebody else's definition of successfulness, but it's not what belongs to you. You're trying to figure out why you just get why can't I just be? Because you done became something that you're not. I remember talking to a mother one time, trying to help her understand that maybe, just maybe, when you're sitting in this place going, there's something greater in this world for me. I just believe like this woman is doing this and that woman is doing that. And she got a business and she got a 6-figure and she got an 8-figure and she got and my life is just all I did was have these children. Could it be? And some of y'all gonna feel some kind, especially y'all feminists, some of y'all gonna feel some kind of way when I say this. Could it be that your purpose in this world as a human being was to give birth to the child you gave birth to? Think about that. We don't know anything about President Obama's mama. We don't know nothing about that lady. We just know what they tell us. I've seen a couple pictures here and there from side shots. I don't think I ever seen the lady's face straight on. I'm sure she did some things in her life. I'm sure she did some wonderful things. I don't know. We don't know her. But what we know, who we know, is the child she gave birth to. Could it be that her life's experiences were all orchestrated to ensure that she would give birth to that man for the time that he needed to be in this world to do what it is that he does? We hear about Martin Luther King Jr., we hear about Coretta, we hear about their kids, we hear about all these things. He even has his daddy's name, he's Junior, right? Who's his mama? I don't know. I'm sure if I go study it out, she'll be in there somewhere. Would you have a problem simply being Elizabeth? I want you to think about that. Think about what you consider success. Think about what you consider value. Think about what you consider importance. Think about what you consider as being great. The only reason we know Elizabeth is because she gave birth to John the Baptist. She wasn't John the Baptist. We love Mary because she was Jesus' mama, but she wasn't Jesus. Is Mary any less valuable than Deborah, who was a judge for Israel? Because she was a whole judge. The Lord allowed her to help Israel make decisions. She was a judge. Miriam was a prophetess. Were they any more valuable than Ruth? Were they any more valuable than Rahab, who was a whole prostitute, but who was the mother of the man that all y'all say y'all want, a Boaz? So what determines greatness? All of their stories are different. They all presented very differently, but they were all successful in what it is that they were created to do in this world. I need you to think about why you feel the need to shape shift. Why do you feel the need to change? Why can't you just simply embrace who God has called you and created you to be? You got to sit with that. You got to acknowledge that you're changing. You have to acknowledge that you're different. You have to acknowledge that you are a different person here than here than here than here. You have to acknowledge that. One thing I can tell you, if you have ever worked with me, if you are my family, if you are a close friend, if you're someone who knows me through speaker, it doesn't matter. Every single person who knows me are going to tell you the same thing about me. They're going to give you the same, like, it don't change. It doesn't change. If you went, listen, if you knew me as a high school, like, listen, do I grow? Yes. Do I learn? Yes. But the essence of who I am is the same. You're not going to meet someone who's like, oh, she thinks she's pretentious. No, you're not. You're not. Everybody's going to be like, that. She been like that for, like, she real. Yeah, that's her. She real. She straight. Yeah, that's her. But we love her. She love people. She kind. Like, you're going to hear the same words from people in every aspect of my life. Why? Because I show up fully as Angel Charmaine Wright in all of the spaces, as I still respect the spaces that I'm in. I'm still going to go in there as me. So I want you to sit with that. And I want you to remember that you don't have to shapeshift to be seen. You don't have to mimic anybody to be powerful. You don't. Right? So your work for today, for those of you who are new to this space, I always give you some work to do, because it doesn't help to point out problems, and it doesn't even help to really give solutions if you don't give people something tangible that they can do to help, right? I don't just want to talk about the issue and even just give you the solution, but I want to help you be able to to make some change in your life that is meaningful. So I want you to this week, whenever you decide to do it, I want you to write down a space in your life where you have been shifting yourself to fit in. Where you've been shifting yourself to fit in. And I want you to ask yourself 3 things. The first thing I want you to ask yourself is, what am I afraid would happen if I showed up as my full self? I want you to ask yourself. So here we go. This is your work. I want you to write down, right? I want you to think about one space in your life where you've been changing, morphing, shape shifting, transforming into some other than you. And I want you to answer this first question. What am I afraid would happen if I showed up as my full self? If I showed up in this room without beating my face, if I showed up in this room speaking like I speak everywhere else and not in this fake accent. Hi, how are you doing? Hey. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? What am I afraid would happen if I showed up as my full self? The second thing I want you to sit with yourself and write down and really ponder is, whose approval are you chasing? Whose approval am I chasing? That's what I want you to write down. Whose approval am I chasing? I want you to think about a space somewhere that you are. Like, it could be, I don't know if it's at work, I don't know if it's at church, it could be an organization you're part of. I don't know, but I want you to pick one space that you know you be shape shifting. Like, you know, that ain't like when you walk out, you got to pull your bra off and take off your girdle because you like, Lord, I get tired of going in there, right? Whatever that place is where you know you transform into somebody else, I want you to think about that place. And then I want you to answer the question, what am I afraid would happen if I showed up as my full self in that place? And the second question is, whose approval am I chasing? Whose approval am I chasing? And let me tell you, sometimes that person is not even in that room. Sometimes you go into rooms because of your mama. Sometimes you go into rooms because of your grandmama. Sometimes you go into rooms because of your daddy. You go into rooms because the people you're connected to are these people. And so when you go into this room, it's not even the people in the room who are impacting you. It's the perceptions of the people who ain't even in the room or the reason you went into the room. So I want you to really sit with it and think about it. Whose approval are you chasing when you go into that room and you shape shift? And then the third question I want you to ask yourself, is their opinion worth me losing myself? Is their opinion worth me losing myself? I know you say, I would never sell my soul. We say, I wouldn't sell my soul, but you do. But you do. But you do. Every single day. Every time you go into a space and you become somebody else, every time you go into a space and you sit yourself down and pick up some foolishness, yes, you do. I just want you to sit and think about it. Is their opinion of you? Is them leaving your space? It is them cutting you off and canceling you, right? Is it all worth you losing you? So I want you to think about that this week. And I'm going to let y'all go because we have been here just a little over an hour. It is so hard for me to put all of this stuff into 30 minutes. Ugh. But listen, I appreciate y'all for coming in, chopping it up with me. I don't know if Jessica is still here, but I want to say thank you so much, Jessica, for coming in and chopping it up with me today. I really, really appreciate you. Hey, Zakia, I see you came in. How you doing, sis? Thank you for joining. Hey, Paula, how you doing? Good afternoon. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for popping in. I appreciate you. What's good, Kiki Sharice, the artist? Greetings to you. It's all about how I feel and how I present. I am multifaceted. I am not one-dimensional. That's what's up. That is what's up. Tamika, how you doing? Thank you for joining us today. All day, every day. All day, every day. Absolutely. I can do a whole lot of things, y'all, but I'm going to tell you, who you see is who you going to get every single time. Every single time. Let me see. Hey, how you doing, Roz? Thank you so much. It's good to see you. I pray your husband is doing well, sis. Mwah. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to make sure that I did not leave anybody out. Did I speak to everybody? I absolutely did. All right, y'all. So thank you all so much for coming in today for 11 a.m. Talks with Angel Charmaine. All week long, we're going to be talking about the performance trap. All week long, we're going to be talking about how you can show up without selling out, because it's possible and it's necessary. How about that? Y'all take care. I'll see y'all tomorrow.